This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Welcome to The Bridge, the show that bridges the gap between Eastern and Western medicine, science and spirituality, physical and energetic health. If you're a leader seeking to heal from within, ultimately achieving the pinnacle of health and well-being for your mind, body, and spirit, then rest assured, this show is tailored just for you. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Rodgers, the Sherlock Holmes of health. I'm a trailblazing Harvard-trained epidemiologist turned transformational health coach. Basically, I find the clues that every other healthcare practitioner missed because they were looking in the wrong place. Welcome back to The Bridge, a transformational health podcast with yours truly, Dr. Elizabeth Rodgers. Hey, podcast family. I am so happy and full of love and excited to be connecting with you all today. Today, I am recording from St. Augustine, Florida, where my family has a home. And the reason I'm in Florida is because I'm in mid-travel where I'll be heading to Charleston and Savannah next week to record some media segments and also for a conference. And where I just came from is Naples, Florida, where my husband and I have purchased our first home together. And we are really excited to be making Florida our home. But today is Saturday, October 28th, and I'm very excited to be recording and connecting with you all today because it is not only just a few days before Halloween, which is my favorite traditional holiday, but today is a full moon and partial lunar eclipse. So the energy is really powerful today. Great energy for manifestation. Now, by the time you hear this episode, it'll be about 2-ish weeks from now. And around that time, actually, when you hear this, will be around the new moon. And the new moon is the opposite of this kind of energy where full moon energy is very outward. New moon energy is very inward, more calming. So I do hope that when you listen to this around that time, that this brings you a boost if you need it. And of course, we'll do a podcast episode, probably more than one, not just with myself, but with guests, where we talk about how the lunar cycles, how your cycles, how the cycles of nature impact your optimal health and well-being, because they most certainly do. Because as you know, you are a physical and a non-physical being made of energy, and everything impacts you. So therefore, everything impacts your health and ability to heal. But that's not what today's episode is all about. Today's episode is a really exciting one for me because we are diving back into the root cause series. Now, the root cause series on this show began with 2 episodes in which I talked with you about what root causes are not, and 10 of the most common scapegoats that you are told are the root causes of any health issue or imbalance that absolutely are not. So if you're new to the show, please go back. I strongly encourage you to go back and at least start with those episodes. I will continue to talk with you about what root causes are not, but it was really important to me that I start with those 10 most common scapegoats because I've been told on my own health and healing journey over the years, and I know so many of you have and are still hearing, that those are the reasons that you're dealing with any kind of setback or imbalance, and they're just absolutely not. Now, I am the expert on root causes for a lot of reasons. Root causes are one of my jams, and I'm really excited to dive into this series again with you today. Now, what we're going to talk about today is what root causes are specifically at the physical health level. Now, 2 things. First, if you recall, and again, if you're new, definitely go back and listen to the episode where I talked with you about your multidimensional health. You're not just a physical being, as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode. You're also not just an emotional being, or just a mind, or just a heart, or just energy, or just a spirit, whatever you want to call that. You're all of those things wrapped up into one unique, extraordinary, special being that makes you divinely unique, unlike any other being in existence. And I'm going to address root causes at those different layers of your multidimensional health. Now, as a leading expert in root causes, I can tell you for a fact that there are at least 8 different categories that we know of so far of root causes. Now, I'm not going to discuss every single one of those today because truly, I could talk with you, and I will, combined over the course of these episodes and of this show in general. I will talk with you for hours and hours, alone and in conjunction with amazing guests, about what root causes are. But to start, as an educator and someone who's taught in medical schools, in graduate courses, in public health and epidemiology, it's really important to me as an educator that I start general and then we start to narrow down towards specifics. So in today's episode, I'm just going to talk with you about the generalities of what root causes are only at the physical health level. What I want you to keep in mind is that there is never just one singular root cause. And there's never just one root cause going on at one specific level. I have found over my career that there are multiple root causes going on at any one given time across many different categories and levels of your multidimensional health. And we'll get to talking about this in a future episode. But the biggest root cause standing in anyone's way, including yours, is you. But today I want to start by talking to you about what root causes are at just the physical health level. So what are the true root causes going on at a physical health level that are contributing to any health issue, symptom, setback, imbalance that you may have, currently are having, or will experience in the future? First, it's important to talk about toxins and pathogens. Now, for any health issue or imbalance to exist at the physical health level, you need a combination of two things in an equation: toxins plus pathogens. By pathogens, I mean different things such as viruses and bacteria. Now, as I mentioned, once we get through talking about the generalities of what root causes are at each different level of your health across those different 8 categories, then I'll start to talk with you in this series about more specifics. So back to toxins and pathogens. By pathogens, I mean things like viruses and bacteria. By toxins, I mean things such as toxic heavy metals, toxins that you ingest through food, through beverages, through prescription medications, through over-the-counter medications, through drugs, through alcohol, and through a wide range of things. Now, it's also important for me to state that where are toxins and pathogens coming from? They're not just coming from things you're putting in and on your body or from things you are surrounded by here on planet Earth, right? You're a human being. You cannot help but interact with toxins and pathogens. So this doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. And this also doesn't mean that you can ever be 100% free and clear of all toxins and pathogens and have zero of either of these things that exist in your body. There are always toxins and pathogens that are hanging out, hanging around, and in your body. That's just part of being a human being and living this human experience. And I'm sure, as many of you know, there are really good pathogens, good bacteria that we need to help us survive and thrive. So, not only can you absorb them through what you put in and on your body and just by generally existing in your environment, but to some degree, we are all born with some sort of load of toxins and pathogens in our body. Many of those are passed down in utero from our parents. A lot of those aren't just coming from our parents, but from our grandparents, from our great-grandparents. Toxins and pathogens can be passed down generation after generation after generation. And so this is one of the reasons why some of us have less setbacks and imbalances and issues as we grow up. And some of us have more because we're all born with a different composition of toxins and pathogens in our bodies from day one. Now, when toxins and pathogens start to interact, that's when they can also start to create additional types of challenges for you. So just like human beings need to eat to survive and thrive, so do pathogens. And pathogens love to feast on the toxins that are in your body. And just like we ingest food, nourishment, nutrients, right? We digest them, we absorb what we need to survive and thrive, and we eliminate the rest. Pathogens in your body, even cellular pathogens in your body, are quite literally doing the same thing. So when pathogens are feasting on toxins in your body, they are basically pooping. And that toxic poop becomes what are called neurotoxins and dermatoxins. Now, neurotoxins and dermatoxins in and of themselves can create additional types of issues and problems for you. Again, we'll get to exactly what those types of problems and issues are in future episodes. Today, I want you to understand the basics and the generalities here. So, toxic poop eliminated by pathogens when they eat the toxins in your body come in the form of neurotoxins and dermatoxins. Neurotoxins and dermatoxins can also on their own be root causes of physical health issues and imbalances. And if you're wondering, what do I do about these things? Don't worry. We'll get to that in future episodes. So we've covered toxins, pathogens, dermatoxins, and neurotoxins produced by those two things combining. And what are some of the other physical root causes going on in your body? First, there are a couple of big ones. One of the other big ones is your liver. Now, a lot of times you are told that your immune system is the root cause behind a problem, or that your immune system is attacking itself. That's false. That is not the case. And what I can tell you is that in a lot of these cases, the issue underlying that, or part of the issue, is your liver. Now, part of what your liver does for you is help to filter and store toxins, chemicals, garbage, poisons, and other junk that goes into your body. And also, part of its job is to break down fats and proteins. So I'm sure, as you can imagine, that just over the course of living a human lifespan, your body ingests and takes in a lot of that kind of stuff, a lot of toxins, chemicals, garbage, junk, poison, crap. And a lot of people, most people, no matter how healthy you're eating, are eating diets that are high in fat and protein. So putting all of those things together, your liver is really doing a lot of work, and over the course of your lifetime can become extremely overburdened. And as a result, it starts to become sluggish. And a sluggish liver is absolutely another root cause going on at the physical health level. If you're wondering how to safely cleanse and detox your liver, we'll talk about that on a future episode because it's really, really important. And you might also be wondering, well, what feeds and fuels the pathogens in my body? What can I avoid? We will also talk about that in a future episode coming up very soon. Now, bile production, weak hydrochloric acid or low hydrochloric acid are also potential root causes going on at the physical health level. Another important root cause going on is your adrenal glands. Not just because of stress, but adrenal issues such as adrenal fatigue, adrenal weakness are another big primary root cause creating problems, issues, imbalances, and setbacks. I actually wanted to originally write my doctoral dissertation about this issue because we live in an extremely stressful world and every human being experiences stress. Stress, in addition to a lot of other things, puts high pressure on your adrenal glands and overburdens them. And again, we'll talk about this specifically and individually on another episode where I'll break down for you your HPA axis. We'll talk about exactly what's going on and how and why your adrenal glands are potentially causing a problem for you and what to do about it. When your adrenal glands are overburdened, you can experience adrenal fatigue and adrenal weakness, which in and of themselves can be primary root causes creating an issue or imbalance at the physical health level. So think about it this way. When your body's nervous system gets stuck in overdrive, meaning when you get stuck in fight or flight mode, your adrenal glands start to overproduce adrenaline, cortisol, and other types of hormones that in a normal scenario are necessary to help you and your nervous system function properly. But when you are spending most or all of your time or more time than necessary in fight or flight mode, which is sympathetic overdrive, your adrenal glands will start to overproduce those things. And when they are overproducing those things, that adrenaline actually becomes toxic and corrosive and becomes another food and fuel source for the pathogens in your body. So you could be doing all the things to eliminate and minimize putting toxins in your body for pathogens to feed off of. However, if you're not regulating your nervous system, you're still giving those pathogens a food and fuel source and thereby continuing to contribute to your own problems. So again, we'll talk about that on a future episode. I also briefly mentioned low or weak hydrochloric acid and low or weak bile production. The bile production is connected to the liver issues. So we will again talk about that more specifically on a future episode. And the hydrochloric acid is going to be connected to your GI or digestive function. And a lot of this is happening as a result of the things that have been going into your body or onto your body. So that's something else important to talk about. Chronic dehydration, also extremely important and can contribute to being a root cause of a physical health issue or imbalance. Now, all of these things I'm mentioning can also be combined with root causes at other layers of your multidimensional health in other categories. And as I continue this root cause series, you'll see that these episodes will build upon each other, and this will start to become clear to you. The last thing that I want to talk with you about, as far as what in general is a root cause at the physical layer of your health and well-being, is a high-fat, high-protein diet. Now, when you have a diet for too long that's high in fat and protein, even in healthy fats and proteins, you're putting additional burden on your liver, on your digestive system, and your body starts to struggle to break that high fat and high protein diet down appropriately. And as a result, that diet can become problematic. And we will absolutely talk about what kinds of foods, nutrients, what kinds of things to avoid if this is potentially one of the issues going on, and what kinds of things to avoid, what kinds of things to add in and focus on if you just want to optimize your health, longevity, and well-being in general. And finally, the last root cause I'll mention today that can occur at the physical health level is physical injury. Now, I want to stop here because I want these episodes to be consumable and digestible, and I want to really educate you. And not only by educating you myself, I'm going to bring on guests who will be able to give you other perspectives about root causes. But I want you to be able to digest this information, and then we'll take the next step. So today we just focused on what root causes are at the physical health level of your multidimensional health. As I mentioned, there are at least 8 different categories that span across the different layers of your multidimensional health. So the next episodes in the root cause series will focus on each of those 8 categories in generalities and basics. I want to give you just the 101 in each of these categories over the first 8 episodes in this series on what root causes are. Then we'll start to dive into specifics. So, for example, we'll talk more about toxins and pathogens, about neuro and dermatoxins, about adrenal issues, about liver issues, about a high-fat, high-protein diet. And we'll break those into singular episodes so you can just start to learn and integrate this information and knowledge. My goal on this show is to empower you, not to overwhelm you or confuse you. And I really want you to recognize that nobody in the world can create optimal health and longevity and wholeness, mind, body, and spirit for you other than you. So to me, the most important thing I can do is to help you recognize that power, step into it, and set yourself free. If you have questions, if there are very specific things you'd like to learn about or hear about, send me an email. And the email will be linked here in the show notes. And I'll be able to do an episode tailored just for you. I hope that you all had a happy Halloween. I would love to hear about what your favorite holiday is, and if you share Halloween as a favorite holiday like me. I'll also be excited to talk with you sometime about the moon, how the full moon, the new moon, and everything in between, including your own cycles and the cycles of nature, impact your optimal health and well-being. I'm so grateful for you all. I want you to know that this show and all of you, and I mean this with all my heart, is the most important thing in the world to me. And being connected and present here with all of you is the most important thing to me. If you're enjoying this show, I would really love if you would subscribe to the show so we can stay connected and continue to grow our connection together. And you can subscribe by hitting the plus sign or clicking follow wherever it is you listen to podcasts, whether that's Apple, Spotify, Odyssey, or elsewhere. And in the meantime, I'll be excited to talk with you again soon. I love you all so much. And remember, the journey to create and sustain optimal health and longevity is an ongoing one. So until next time, stay inspired, stay aligned, and keep shining bright. Thanks for listening to today's episode of The Bridge, a transformational health podcast with Dr. Elizabeth Rodgers. To learn more about my work and ways you can get support to transform your own health, head to my website, drelizabethrodgers.com. Don't forget, Rodgers has a D and a G. You can find a link in the show notes too. I hope you can feel the big boost of positive energy I'm sending all around right now. Can't wait to connect with you on the next episode.